In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Waterman Charleston fountain pen. I'll go over the specs, I will do a writing sample, and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this pen coming up. Blake here with Blake's Broadcast. On this channel, I review fountain pens, paper, and ink, and as always, I put links in the show notes in the description below. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps out my channel. All right, let's get on with the review. So this is the Waterman Charleston fountain pen. This is my first ever gold nib fountain pen, and amazingly, I still have the receipt from March of 2003. I bought this from World Lux, which was a retailer based in Seattle. They had a web store that was one of the bigger stores back then. They have since gone out of business, unfortunately, but this was my first ever gold nib fountain pen. You can see I paid $98 for the pen, and this was Waterman's cheapest fountain pen with a gold nib, and I think it's actually quite a good looking pen. It shares some similarities with Waterman's vintage 100-year pen in that it has these barrel rings which look really nice and these ribs on the barrel. It's a pretty handsome pen. In terms of the design, starting up top, we have a Waterman logo on the, I don't know if I want to call this a finial because it's really part of the clip. It's attached onto the top there, and then it kind of tapers down into the clip. There's a cutout in the middle, and it's rounded. It's a pretty good looking clip. It's an unusual looking cap. I think there aren't a lot of pens with a cap that look like this. There is a thin cap ring here, and then on the body is more like the normal cap ring you would expect to see. You can see it says Waterman and France. I don't know, would you call this Art Deco? It has a really nice look to it, and then you have these ribs on the body, which I think just add to the look of the pen and gives it kind of a vintage look. And then it tapers towards the tail. There's a ring on the tail here, and you can see there is a little sort of dot there, just sort of a hint at the manufacturing process here. In terms of fit and finish, you know, this pen is not at the same level as some of the more premium Watermans. There are exposed seams on the grip section and the body and the cap, I believe, as well. So like fit and finish wise, this is a step above the Culture fountain pen that I reviewed a while ago, but not honestly by a lot. So, you know, you're really, for $98, you know, you're really going after this gold nib, which admittedly is a very small 18 karat gold nib that's kind of out of proportion with the rest of the body. The grip section tapers and then flares out at the end. And you have, again, a similar design with the Waterman logo, similar to what we saw on the cap ring. And it says Paris, and it's 18 karat gold. And then on the back, you can see the plastic feed, which is marked with M because this is a M nib. Now it's a cartridge converter pen, and you can see it's really, I have not taken very good care of this pen over the last 21 years. It needs a little bit of a cleanup. It takes Waterman cartridges and converters. It did come with a converter. I do not believe that was a extra add-on back then. And I have a vintage Florida, not vintage, I have an old Waterman Florida Blue cartridge in here. Now let's do some measurements. In terms of the length, it's about 134, 133 long, and it does kind of have flat tops, so it is, you know, a little bit shorter overall dimension-wise, about 121, and then posted, this does post nicely, about 148. Very good size there. In terms of the grip section, at the back here, we're looking at 10.3 millimeters, and then at the narrowest point before it flares out, about 9 millimeters. So it's not a huge grip section. I do find it very comfortable. The pen itself is quite light, so it's a comfortable, I would say, full-size pen. In terms of the weight, looking at 24 grams and about 17.9 grams uncapped. So nice weight to it. It has a premium feel to it. It's not super light. In terms of the size here it is with an Aurora Ypsilon. It's a bit shorter than that, but size-wise they feel pretty similar. And then here it is with a Caran d'Ache Le Mans. Again, similar size. You can see it here with an Aurora Optima, so it's a bit longer than that. And here it is next to a Mont Blanc 149. And with the caps off, we can pretty much see that in terms of at least length, the Waterman Charleston nib is the shortest. It is wider than the Aurora Ypsilon nib, but interestingly, to my eye anyway, the Ypsilon looks and feels more proportional to this, which is more short and fat. And I think just the way that the Ypsilon tapers into the body, or into the section and then the nib, I think just looks more harmonious than the Waterman Charleston. For the writing sample, I'm going to be using a Papermind Mitsubishi bank paper notebook. These notebooks are excellent with fountain pens, and for Blake's Broadcast viewers and subscribers, you can get 10% off with code BB10 at checkout. This is the Waterman Charleston. This is a medium. This is an old Waterman Florida Blue cartridge, which I believe is called Serenity Blue now. And we'll try some fast writing. And boy, am I not writing well today. Huh. I'm actually seeing some skipping here. Interesting. And again, I wonder if it's... That's interesting. I've had this pen a long time. I haven't used it in a long time, but this is new for me. I wonder if it was just not getting ink after being laid on the table for a minute. Because now it's not skipping. So, that's a bit strange for me. Typically, this pen has had basically perfect performance. It is, I would say, not the smoothest medium. It's not toothy like a Sailor or an Aurora, but it's not like buttery smooth like some other pens like a Pelikan M805 that I reviewed recently, or an ST DuPont medium. But it's a very nice writer. The performance, until of course I do the writing sample, has been absolutely flawless. Yeah, that really just is bizarre that I was getting the skipping, but maybe it was just starved of ink. Anyway, really good performance. Reverse writing, it's actually relatively smooth. I mean, I know it doesn't sound smooth, but yeah, and you get a decent difference there. This is a 14, or actually it's an 18 karat gold nib, right? It's an 18 karat gold nib. You can push on it, but it's really just a nail. You can get a little difference there, but I wouldn't. It feels like a nail. So what are my pros and cons for the Waterman Charleston fountain pen? Well, I think the main reason to buy this pen is that it was the cheapest Waterman you could get with a gold nib. I do think it is a good looking pen. It has some of the design characteristics from the Waterman 100-year pen, and I think it's just a nice looking pen that's pretty unique. There aren't a lot of other pens that look quite like this, so all of that is really good. The writing performance is excellent. Just like most Watermans, you put a cartridge in this or a converter and it writes right away, and the performance is excellent. In terms of cons, I would say fit and finish are not as nice as other Watermans with gold nibs, but that's to be expected because of the lower price. You know, you have an injection molded plastic body, and there are seams on the body. So, you know, they're not terrible. You know, if you're used to a Pilot pen, like a Pilot Custom, you know, this is going to be pretty similar build, fit, and finish to that. So it's still very good. It's just not quite at the level of some of the other Watermans that you may be used to. The other thing, and I think was always the biggest issue with this pen, at least for me, the nib. It's proportionally too small, I think, for the pen, and that's really the most, that's the biggest con for me. Other cons, well, they don't make these anymore, but they're still very cheap if you're able to find one. A first gold nib pen, this is still a very nice pen, very good writing performance. But that's pretty much it. Do you guys have this pen? Do you like this pen? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more fountain pen, paper, and ink videos, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and until next time.